Amid escalating tensions over Iran, the United States' top regional allies held a secretive high-level meeting to discuss bilateral ties and coordinate responses to multiple overlapping regional crises. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan and Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman met in Riyadh on February 3 in a tightly choreographed summit that underscored their dramatic shift from rivals to strategic partners. It was Erdoğan's first visit to Riyadh in over 2 years, marking a symbolic turning point as the former foes now align on security, energy, and economic priorities. The two sides discussed oil and petrochemical cooperation, renewable energy projects, and broader trade frameworks, according to the Turkish presidency's readout of the talks. Turkish presidency said, and I quote, "Ankara hopes to finalize negotiations toward a free trade agreement between Turkey and the member of the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC." The two sides agreed to strengthen their cooperation in the fields of oil, petroleum products, and petrochemicals, as well as in electricity and renewable energy, building on Saudi Arabia's massive energy investments. Unquote. Saudi Arabia was the first stop on Erdogan's wider regional tour, with the Turkish president scheduled to visit Egypt, another key U.S. ally, shortly afterward. The meeting came as U.S. President Donald Trump openly expressed deep mistrust toward traditional American allies, questioning their reliability in a potential conflict with Iran. Speaking with Fox News, Trump said Gulf allies would be kept in the dark about Washington's detailed plans on Iran, signaling a more unilateral approach to decision-making. This came just days after Saudi Arabia warned Washington that it would not allow the U.S. to freely use its airspace for an attack on Iran. A senior Gulf official told Fox News that Saudi airbases would not be involved in any war-related operations on January 30, highlighting Riyadh's desire to limit direct exposure. Not only Riyadh but also Jordan and the United Arab Emirates have opposed direct involvement in the event of a U.S. military strike on Iran, according to regional reporting. Turkey, for its part, reiterated its opposition to any military action against Iran, as reported by Reuters, even as Ankara seeks closer coordination with Gulf partners. Earlier, Turkey had drafted contingency plans to create a buffer zone inside Iran if Tehran's government were to collapse, aiming to stabilize its southern frontier. Middle East Eye reported that Ankara wants to prevent a massive refugee wave into Turkey following possible U.S. strikes or regime instability in Iran. These remarks came after Iran warned Gulf partners that they risk being dragged into any broader conflict if the U.S. launches an attack on its territory. Amid these rising tensions, Riyadh has moved to bolster its own deterrent capability in an increasingly unstable regional environment. In January 2025, the U.S. approved the sale of $9 billion worth of Patriot interceptor missiles to Saudi Arabia, significantly upgrading its air defense shield. Saudi Arabia is also exploring a deal with South Korea to procure Kf-21 Boramae fighter jets, which would modernize its air force and reduce reliance on older platforms. Separately, Riyadh is reportedly working toward the acquisition of diesel-electric submarines to enhance its naval reach and undersea deterrence. Riyadh is in talks with Italy's Fincantieri for the purchase of Tadaro-class submarines, according to defense industry reporting. In parallel, Erdogan is pursuing an ambitious defense industrial strategy to arm Turkey with more domestically produced weapons and reduce dependence on foreign suppliers. Ankara's Altay main battle tank program, with deliveries expected in 2028, is Turkey's bid to boost indigenous production and modernize its armored forces. The Altay's induction will begin the long-delayed replacement of Turkey's aging M60 and Leopard tank fleets, reshaping its ground combat posture. Interestingly, Ankara was also expected to join a mutual defense pact with Riyadh and Pakistan, signaling deeper security integration among these powers. However, on February 2nd, AFP reported that Ankara has decided not to join the mutual defense pact, underscoring Turkey's cautious balancing act between partners. US and Iranian officials are expected to hold nuclear negotiations in Oman amid soaring regional tensions and the threat of military escalation. Tehran reportedly wants to limit talks strictly to nuclear issues, refusing to discuss missile programs or its network of proxy groups in the region. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has warned of a contingency operation codenamed Midnight Hammer 2.0 if Iran backs out of the negotiations or violates any agreement.
On Iran, are the negotiations still happening this week?
Yeah.
Where will they be? And what do you need to hear from Iran?
They're all over. But they are negotiating. They'd like to do something, and we'll see if something is going to be done. They had a chance to do something a while ago, and it didn't work out, and we did Midnight Hammer. I don't think they want that happening again, but they would like to negotiate. We are negotiating with them right now, yes.
Mr. President,
Mr. President.
where will the meeting be? It seems like
I
it's
can't tell
changing.
you that. There's more than one meeting.
Trump's warning came as US and Iranian forces faced off twice in quick succession, first in the Arabian Sea and then in the Strait of Hormuz. First, a US fighter jet downed an Iranian drone that was flying too close to the USS Abraham Lincoln, escalating the risk of direct clashes. The IRGC claimed the drone was carrying out a routine and lawful surveillance mission, according to Iran International. The Shahd-type drone reportedly transmitted data back to Iranian controllers before being destroyed, raising concerns about persistent reconnaissance. Subsequently, a US-flagged oil tanker was allegedly harassed by Iranian gunboats during its transit through the Strait of Hormuz. A US Navy destroyer intervened to assist the American-flagged tanker, with Central Command confirming the incident and underscoring Washington's commitment to freedom of navigation.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.